Treasure. Let me turn some more light on. There we go. I'm Diane Pruitt, and we are in the studio right here at Two Girls Treasure at the PD State Farmers Market. We're just a half mile off I-95, so stop in and see us. I'm running a little low on voice this morning. That's very difficult for me, but we're going to see if we can't pan through this and work on our cottage colors and our castings from our Iron Orchid Designs mold sets. Yesterday evening, let's scooch this around, I picked out the colors that I absolutely love. Let me scooch you over just a little bit. There we go. Say good morning when you come in. In order, we have our Bashful Blush, Morning Mist. This is Cotton. Fresh Sage, Sunflower, Violet Shadow, which I think is so underused. And this is our famous Robin's Egg Blue. I love all of these colors, but I feel like we're at the place where we really need to decide which ones we're going to use because all of these are way too many. We do have a good base of primer on here, thanks to Mel. I've got to go over the drawers with our primer base. And we're not using primer so much as we're just using up a container of Snowy Day. That's all. So we're basing it in Snowy Day, and we are going to come down, cascade down, if you will, with our cottage colors. In the meantime, though, we have our trimmings for, and we have our Juliet mold sets. These are fabulous florals and greenery. I love these so dearly, and I did clean off the table, but it just feels gritty. You know how you work on something and you just can't seem to clean it all up? That's where we are with this. So I'm going to let me grab some paper so that we can cover up the table where we're working with our molds, because I don't want grit and dirt in our mold sets or in our castings. So let's lay some paper out here. There we go. That'll give us a nice clean surface to work from. And let me also grab, I think I have some of the castings right here. So let's take a look. No, these are Santa Clauses. They're beautiful, but they're Santa Clauses, so that's not really what we need. Juliet and Trimmings 4 are absolutely lovely pieces. So let's open up this Juliet. I think what we were looking at was the fact that Juliet fits perfectly in this section. And we can come straight down with Juliet, create a spray in the centerpiece, and then we will have the ability to take our Trimmings 4 and shape the casting to this opening so that we have a beautiful floral accent across the top as well. That's a lot of molds, but I think ultimately that's the right direction to go. So here's what we need to do. In order to shape this, I feel like if we use our resin, we're going to need a paper cutout first, so that once we cast our Trimmings 4 mold set, we'll be able to come back in with our razor knife and cut out the shape we need based on a paper cutout. Same thing in the center, same thing on the side. I believe if we do anything differently, we're absolutely not going to, we're going to lose this architecture. and I really want to keep the shape of uh, these drawers from top to bottom. Now we're still missing a piece of veneer right here, and while I put these back on, I'm not really happy with the way they look, but I think once we cover them over, we won't notice them at all. I think it'll be just fine. So let's do two things. Let's go ahead and let's pour some resin so that we have our first castings, and then we will paint out these drawers in our primer coat of Snowy Day so that we still have a blank slate. I like a nice clean slate to work from, and then we can decide what colors that we're going to work with. We have 3, 6, 7 of them up here. We need to whittle that down. That's a little, even for me, that's a few too many. So let me grab some resin, and I don't think we will. This is our quick cast. This is our quick cast. I don't think we will need. I don't think we'll need to pour a lot at one time. Let me get some more tools out. And I don't think I'm going to use mica powders on this. I think I'm going to let it just cure up white. And then I think what we'll do is paint them, detail them, if you will, because I think that's really what I'd rather see. All right, we'll put this one away. And I want to show you. Where's my little spritzer? Every time. I have a spritzer pen for our alcohol. You really don't need it. You know what? We don't need it with our quick cast. We need it with our clear cast. That's a big difference. All right. I also need another piece of paper. I think what I can do is carve this out with our paper towel because it does not need to be huge. So let's take our tape and let's lay this paper towel in over our drawer. Tape that on. And really all we need to do is outline, tear the paper at the design. And that's all we need. And we actually tore it just enough. Okay, that's what we needed right there. So we need to be real careful and purposeful about pouring the resin. We don't want it to cure hard because then it'd be really difficult to cut. I'll have to get out the jigsaw, and I'd really rather not do that. I'd really rather just trim it while it's a little bit warm, and that way we can make it a little bit easier. I broke my glasses yesterday afternoon carrying in a case of water. Just crushed them. So I'm using an old pair, and they don't quite stay on, so I'm working through that this morning. All right, let me grab my gloves because I definitely need those. And I really, really wish I had hold of my spritzer bottle. Not that I need it. It's just that in this moment, I just want it. I just want to know where it is. I love my little spritzer pen from Pentart. I fill it with alcohol, and as I spray, it off gases the resin, which is very, very helpful. All right, let me move my Pentart products, and I'm going to shine the light right into our mold set. All right. These can be a booger to open. It's usually this one that's so difficult to get along with. I'm going to go ahead and fill the cup. This is 30 mils of each side, side A and side B. Make sure when you're pouring your resin, you wear your gloves. You're in a very well ventilated area. This is not something you want to breathe in a small room. Make sure you have ventilation. And don't just use a fan to blow on yourself. Make sure you have air movement. We're in a very large area here, so ventilation for me is not a big problem. Wear your gloves to protect your skin. Wear a mask if you feel like you need to. And make sure you pour equal parts of both sides. You don't want to mismix. You'll have a mess. Make sure you use your measuring cups. And then let's stir. Now I suppose I could lay this in and pour over it, but I think I'll make a mess if I do, so we'll just use that template. Good morning. We'll use that template after we pour. And let's pour. You can see the pour okay, can't you? Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me. I feel like I've been eating pollen for days with a spoon, so it's finally gotten my voice. And I'm also going to try to under pour just a little bit. I don't want a thick, chunky finish. And whatever I have left in the cup, I'm going to go ahead and pour into Juliet. And let's scrape so we get all the product out. And that's the end. That's all we're going to get. All right, so let's let both of those cure quickly. Coffee break. Thank you for being here. I surely do appreciate you. Take a sip of coffee. Everything's going to be all right. And while that is curing, which is only going to take a minute, because you see it's already starting to darken itself, I'm going to go ahead and take a brush and pull these drawers out. We'll go ahead and get these primed up also. It will not take long for this to cure. It's already curing. So I want to go ahead and get this covered. Oh, that's that problem drawer. Oh goodness, we have guests in the house and it's 9:20. Good morning. Welcome in. I don't know who's visiting. All right. I'm just going to tip that top edge. And we'll let that drawer dry. Let's go see who's visiting Two Girls Treasure this morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Okay. How wonderful. How absolutely wonderful. The plumber showed up this morning. We're thankful for that. He has a repair to make, and we're excited about him coming to make that repair. All right. Not quite cured on these edges. Still a little sticky here. I don't think it's ready. It's not. All right, we got the bottom drawer done. Let's pull this next drawer. This is our problem child right here. We're definitely, there we go, definitely going to need some more adjustments to this drawer. but we can get it. These old drawers can be a pain, but just as painful as the drawers can be, they're beautiful. And we can make them beautiful and functional. So let's go ahead while that's curing just a little bit more. And let's cover this one. Since this is the raw edge wood right here, it's very rough to the touch. There's not a lot I can do to change that since I don't have the piece of veneer that goes over it. So we're going to do the best we can with that little section right there. This coverage coat here will show you the problems that we're experiencing with the veneers. As we put them back on where they belong, we have cracks and some chips on the edges. I anticipated those so we can make some repairs as we go where we need to. But I think the best thing we can do is just cover it with our primer base first, and then take a look as we go and see where we're really going to need to do the work after we get our castings cut out and laid into their spaces. So let's go ahead and cover this. And let's cover that top edge while we're going. No matter what you're missing from it, if you just take the time to make it all blend together well, by the time you finish, you won't know the difference. So we'll set that to the side. This is ready now. It's still nice and warm and pliable. I feel like I've got to take my gloves off for this part. I need to touch it and feel it so I know where I'm pulling. All right. It's going to be lovely because it is warm. It'll be easier to cut. The problem with it being warm and not quite cured is that it can be a little bit problematic around the edges. So be careful if you're demolding when it's warm. What you don't want to do is stretch that casting out. See, we've got a little problem here in these crooks, these beautiful florals, and there we go. We don't want to stretch those out of shape. So I'll roll the rest of it out gently. There we go. It pulled just a little bit, but it didn't pull horribly. So let's see. We almost shaped it just like it needed to be. The resin was very, very cooperative. We may need to fill in some extra space. Good morning. Thank you for being here. We may need to fill in some extra space, but we can come back with our clay and fill that. So let's take a look. That lays in there really nicely. We can curve that back around so it fits inside that shape, that routed shape, and boy, it wants to stick already. So let's go ahead and get that one placed. I'll grab my glue. I'm working on another project at the other end of the table. It's very special. It's for my husband. All right. Cap the glue, and let's go ahead. Get that down at the beginning. Do the edges very nicely. All right. I also have my paintbrush that I've been using for glue, so let's go ahead and spread that. Since this is going to be on a chest of drawers, it's going to take a lot of use. I want to make sure all the edges are down firmly, but I also want to make sure there's no air pockets in the center, because air pockets over time will cause the casting to break loose. And you know, if you're a child like me, once it breaks loose, you'll pick at it until it comes off. All right, let's set that to the side. And let's lay this in. And then curve that back in so it stays in the place. And I'm just going to tink all the way around, back and forth on the casting itself to make sure that there's good pressure on the center section. Make sure all the edges are laid down smoothly, tight up against the wood frame. And there we go. We're off to a rousing start. I'm very excited to see this come together. That's beautiful. I think we can use the exact same piece for both sides. That kind of helped give me a guide of where to pour so that fit. We can fill in some small spots with some clay castings if we want to, or we can leave it like it is and carry on. Let's do the other side, and then we will create a form for the center section. So gloves on. And we'll do it the exact same way this time as well. We'll go ahead and pour 30 mils of each side. Again, make sure you have your gloves on to protect your skin. Safety glasses. I have on my eyeglasses. You don't want this to splash, and accidents happen. Make sure you are in a very well ventilated space. And make sure if you're not, you have, find the way to get air moving and not necessarily a fan, and put a mask on. Now I'm in a very, very well ventilated space. We have 12 to 20 foot ceilings in here, so it goes up to a peak at 20 feet. We have plenty of ventilation. I have the doors open, and we're back here in the studio. We're just fine. Your ambient temperature does depend on how quickly this cures. Now, since we started on this end, we're going to start on the opposite end to pour for this one. And I will cap those. And I try to keep my measuring cups with the side that I'm using so that I don't mix them up and end up curing something in the measuring cup. We'll stir this until it comes clear. And then we'll start pouring from the opposite side so that when we demold, we have the piece and the size and the shape that we need to go on the opposite side of the drawer. And again, I'm trying to shallow pour this. I do want to make sure my edges are full. All right, let's let that go, and we will use our Juliet mold set, and we will pour the extra in there. I always try to have an extra mold set handy, already on the table when I'm pouring, so that in the event I have more resin poured than I'm using, I have a place to go with it. I really, really hate to waste. So having an extra mold set on hand helps to prevent as much waste as possible. I'm just going to go around the edges of this and make sure that we have as much covered as possible. And there we go. Done for the moment. We will need to, while that's drying, let's pull another paper towel piece. But first, coffee. Oh, that nice hot coffee is helping me keep my voice because the pollen game has been ridiculously strong this week. All right. Oh, it does need tape. I thought I could do it without the tape, but I don't think so. I'm going to trim the tape pieces down this time, though. I don't need them so large. All right, that looks good. And let's get our smalls out. Let's trim this center section form. So when we get ready to pour this, we are ready. Now, I guess I need to call Mel and make sure that we're putting the molds all the way across, or are we creating a spray here in the center? Molds across the edges and the spray in the middle? I don't think that's a bad idea because we're actually going to spray all the way down the center. We could bring it all the way up. No, we can't because this is an end point. Keep going. Keep going. For the first one, we didn't have to cut any of the mold, trim any of the mold out. I'm hoping that stays the case as we go through. That would be much easier, wouldn't it? If you're just joining me, thank you. This is our refurbish of our waterfall style chest of drawers. It's a very old piece, and it is in very questionable condition. The structure is sound. It has good bones, but it just is not beautiful anymore. So this is one of our April Ugly to Unbelievable projects. And I think once we get this part done, we have a bed frame picked out. It's going to be much easier to work with. And then we'll ramp up the level of difficulty again because we have a dressing table that we need to work on, and it is going to be a bear because the veneer damage on it is substantial. This is not quite ready. I'm peeling the excess from around where I over poured, and it's still very sticky, so we better leave that alone. And I'll tell you what, that needs a little bit more glue. I think once we lay down a little bit more with some clay, boy, that's on there good. That Tight Bond Quick and Thick really does a great job. I'm kind of leaning into our Morning Mist and our Sunflower for this, but I think our Sunflower and our Sage really look good together. I'll show you. Here's our Morning Mist and our Sunflower. That's a beautiful combination, isn't it? But just as beautiful is the Sunflower and the Sage. I'm not quite sure which one I'm leaning the hardest on. And Sage and Bashful Blush look so good together, but I think I need the Bashful Blush for the roses. So we'll still use that, but it just won't be the base colors. I think we're really going to need to lean into these. Hey, honey. My honey's here. The surprise is over because he's standing right in front of it. Looking at the wrong piece. The headboard's right in front of you. Over here. Right here. All right. What do you think? Sunflower and Sage, or Sunflower and Sage, or Sunflower and Morning Mist? Which one do you like better? Come here and look. There. These are our color choices. I think we'll use these, but we'll use these as accent colors. But what do you love for the base colors? Sunflower and Morning Mist, or Sunflower and Sage?
The Morning Mist and Sage. Yeah.
These two? No. These two? No.
Green and blue.
These two?
Uh,
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunflower and fresh sage it is. All right, I think we're just about, yeah, I can pull away. We're just about ready to demold this. It's still going to be a little bit sticky. Remember, we're pulling, we're pulling these while they're warm so that we can demold and trim out if we need to so it fits the shape of our section here on the top. So let's go ahead and let's find the one place that it's ready to demold. There we go. All you ever have to do is find the one place. Just bend it, find your spot that's ready to demold, and that's where we will start. And we'll pull gently because any pieces that are not letting go because they're still a little sticky, we don't want to stretch them out of shape, so we will encourage them. I'm just taking my fingernail and encouraging them to let go. And we're going to roll out gently so we don't stretch anything that's still warm out of shape. And we need to pull it while it's warm so that if we have to trim anything, it trims easier. I really don't want to break out the jigsaw today. Not with all this pollen. The last thing I need today is resin dust. So there we go. I think, oh, you know, it's just about a perfect fit. It's a little bit bigger than the other. I think we've got one piece right here to trim. And we're not going to lose a thing by trimming that off. Got a little piece right here to trim. Don't be afraid to trim these out. You're not really losing anything. You're maintaining the shape and the design that you're really wanting to work with. There we go. That's going to look really good. All right, let's roll this over and take our form off. And then there goes our glue. Same thing as before. I'm going to go around the edges. Make sure our edges are covered well. And then we'll go around the inside. I like to dampen my brush when I do this because it helps the glue to spread a little bit easier. It's not diminishing the strength of your glue. As you can see, it works very well. And I'm just going to brush this out, make sure my entire center is covered, make sure my edges are covered. And once it spreads out, the glue just lays right back down, nice and smooth. You want the glue smooth so you don't have lumps underneath. I want the glue smooth so I don't have lumps underneath. But I also want it spread edge to edge, completely covering the back of the casting, so that once I lay that casting on there, every surface of this casting has a point of adhesion. All right, let's see. Oh, it's upside down. This won't work. This would work here. This won't work here. Oh my goodness. All right, so what we need to do is trim that out. I'm going to lay this in. And we'll trim this right here. Peel it back out. Where's my trim section? Y'all knew I was going to do it upside down, right? Y'all knew that, right? Back of my mind, I was like, no, I'm going to do it right this time. No, I'm not. So I'm going to pull the glue back off this end real quickly. And I'm going to clean the glue off here. All right, let me find my spot where I cut it right here, all the way up to here. Okay, that's not a huge section. That's doable. Just finished saying I didn't want to get the jigsaw out. There we go. Now, let's lay this back in. may still have a section to trim out. I do. It's okay. We'll get that, and then we can lay this section up in here. We'll just blend it in so it works with the rest of the casting. Up and over. That's as far as we can go. We still have a little piece right here we're going to trim out. So let me glue this in to the top side. It fits the best right there. And I think once it dries and lays in, we're the only ones who are going to know. And again, I'm going to make sure all of my edges and my center are laid down really well. And if it doesn't lay down really well, it pops back up. Just hold it for a second. That tight bond does an amazing job. You just have to let it do its job. And sometimes that means you hold it in place, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. That's all you need. But make sure your center is down nice and tight, because what you don't want is you don't want that to pop loose in a year or two. There we go. And now it fits just right. There we go. All right, we have a really good start to the castings, and we'll continue to work on these as we move forward. We'll get our colors started. And I'm going to go get some more medicine. This pollen, don't eat it with a spoon. It's bad. It's bad for you. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. Thank you for being so gracious. I'm losing my voice and coughing, and I need more coffee. Just clearly need more coffee. But I hope you have enjoyed this morning. You can always create castings that will fit your project. They don't have to fit exactly. You just have to manipulate them until you get them to the shape or the size that you're looking for. And with so many Iron Orchid design options on the market, you have the ability to create almost anything you can imagine. We're going cottage, French country, English country, Southern country on this one, and the colors are going to be fresh and spring, and they will match anyone's decor. We have such an array of colors to choose from. I don't know that I'm settled on the sage and sunflower, but they do look really good together. If you have an opinion, drop it in the comments. I'll catch up with you later. Thanks so much for being here with me today. I'm Diane Pruitt. We are in the studio at Two Girls Treasure in Florence, South Carolina. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning. Bye, y'all.